time, we're going to talk about MMA Guru being called out by Rampage Jackson. Okay, and Rampage Jackson also called him a racist. Is Rampage Jackson correct? Is he really a racist? Uh, or is MMA Guru just trying to somehow garner attention in some kind of way? Well, we're going to find out. We're going to talk about all of that, right? Because all of that is absolutely relevant to the story. Also, why is it that Raja is still not arrested? Well, there's a good reason why. But we're gonna find out. Okay, let's. How about now? Let's try and see if we can get a better audio here real quick. Let me make sure we get this. How about now? Let's see if this is a better audio. Okay, mic check 1 2 1 2. How about now? Oh, okay, that's perfect. Audio. Okay, that's perfect. All right, so we got the sound going on right now. Yeah, I guess I'd have to put this on for everybody to uh, hear me out right here. Okay, so we'll just have the headphones on for this one so we can get the best mic possible going here. Okay, so all right, let me get the thumbnail going on right here. We're gonna press the thumbnail, put it on here, and here it is. The racial tension between MMA Guru and Rampage Jackson. So the other thing we're going to talk about, why is Syko Stu should not be a wrestler, right? And this is, by the way, according to the likes of Jim Cornette, Rob Van Dam, and Mark Henry. These are the sources that are basically saying this, right? Why should he not be a pro wrestler? Well, we're going to find out exactly why, right? There's a lot of professional reasons as to why most promoters would not hire somebody like Syko Stu. And again, I want to remind everybody, right? This is in no circumstances of victim blaming in any kind of capacity whatsoever. That is not what we are here to do. What we are here to do is give the story to its full extent. And that I think that I've also kind of fulfilled that in a way, right? Because here's the thing that you guys got to understand, right? A lot of people that are covering this story, unfortunately, are looking at it from one lens or another, right? The other lens that they're looking at it is they are seeing something to the effect of, okay, you know what, this is bad. This is you should have never done this. Or the other side of it is, Raja was correct. And I'm somewhere in the middle, right? I'm somewhere in the middle of Raja being correct at what he does. And then I'm also in the middle of how much that could have been excessive. Because by the end of the day, you're a human being, right? Even Raja himself would probably uh, attest to the fact that he was going a little bit overboard with what he did. So um, I highly doubt that he doesn't have a conscience about it, or maybe he doesn't, but you never know. Um, so let's get to this, right? Obviously, MMA Guru is called out by Rampage. He goes and puts out a video about it, and let's see exactly what MMA Guru had to say about Rampage calling him out. Now, yesterday, I played a video for you guys about Rampage addressing the whole entire thing, right? So Rampage called me out over Raja Jackson's response and coverage. The guy is delusional. Okay, well, we're going to find out exactly why he is delusional. So if you look at the thumbnail right here, it has a Rampage with him uh, with a brain pointed down towards Rampage's shoulder. Well, let me show you the picture right here. This is basically the picture of MMA Guru and what he is talking about. So we're going to get to that. But first, before we get to that, I'm going to read to you some of the comments that people left me on my Rampage Jackson is a horrible parent video. Okay. That Rampage has something to do with any of this. I was watching Lucas Tracy MMA the other day on his take on this particular matter. By the way, shout out to everybody around the world that is getting their money on this. So, okay. This is the video right here. Let's read a couple of comments on this one right here. Okay, so my man here says, Habibi, please take this down. Rampage had a rough upbringing, and uh, he became an amazing man. You can't blame the dad. His son is not at all there in the head. Not at all there in the head. Okay, so basically, this man is telling me to not, blame Rampage for this, right? I don't necessarily. I mean, look, there's a lot of blame to go on here, right? But we're gonna get to that. I'm so fatigued. Okay, shout outs to John 4. Tell me why you are fatigued. Are you fatigued at what is going on right now, or are you fatigued at just overall life? Let me know. So this guy states, that's a grown ass man. Hell no. Sergeant MV says, nah, bro, Raj is a grown man. No need to blame his father. At least his father was in his life. What a dumb take. So, you know what? Here's the thing, right? A lot of people in this whole entire story that's covering this story, everybody has a dumb take. I don't care if you are for one side or the other. Everybody has a dumb take. Red Hot Chili Pepper, shout outs to you, my man. I haven't seen you here in a while, man. Shout outs to you, my man. Hope everything is good. So, yeah, Sergeant MV here says in the comments that, nah, bro, Raja is a grown man. No need to blame his father. At least he was in his son's life. What a dumb take. So, unfortunately, in the African American community, there is a reality where there are many people out there that are not there for their kids, right? And I know this for a fact because I am absolutely, embedded in the African American culture. I got a lot of friends that are, from the hood, from the East Coast, from Sacramento to LA. I mean, you name it, right? So, that is a prevalent thing that is unfortunately happening. So whenever somebody actually shows up, it is as if, well, look, I don't want to diminish anyone's efforts, right? But it's like the bare minimum of what you should do is to show up for your kids. So for him to say that that's a dumb take, I think that's a dumber take on that regard. So he says, you're so wrong to blame his father like this. I'm sure you don't have kids. The internet is one of the baddest inventions ever. Well, I tell you what, Mr. User says here, right? He says that you can't blame his father for this. And the internet is the worst invention ever. So basically what he's trying to say is that, hey, you know what, man? You are one of the problems right now because you're on the internet saying all of these things and this is the worst invention ever. So in other words, you don't want people to have an alternative way of viewing the world because that's exactly what the internet is and that's exactly what we're offering, right? So it's kind of weird that he said that. He says, whether I do or not is completely irrelevant. The way Rampage treated Raja caused a certain mental breakdown. And if you can't see that, then there's a reason why you backlash at me like this. And then Healing Torturer says, you can't stop stupid. Rampage had no clue his son would crash out this way. Had he known, I am sure he would have intervened. Was a low IQ action. Okay, so all right, let's read some of the comments here. Uh, Red Hot Chili Peppers says, I've been okay, just busy. Glad comes out, got the dub though. Okay. Adrian, shout out to Adrian from Russia. How you doing, man? I'm doing great, my man. Alhamdulillah, beautiful morning here in sunny Sacramento, California. I hope you are doing good. M98 says hi. Red Hot Chili Pepper says, I think two things can be true at once. I agree with that with Roger's situation. Roger was 100% at fault, but his dad and the concussion he had sustained recently both played a part in his decision making that night. Wow. That right there. Yes, that is so true right there. I'm going to give that I'm going to give that a pin right there. So I'm going to pin that message down right there just like how they pinned Syko Stu when he was when he was laid out after after he got laid out by Raja. But that is very true. Look, a lot of the haters towards Raja don't want to admit or don't want to look at the fact that he was sparring that week. He got hit with a head kick. And then here's the thing, MMA Guru says, well, it wasn't really that hard. It wasn't really that hard, was it? Well, MMA Guru, that's because you don't spar, my man. And here's the thing, I'm not telling you that you should go and spar, just to F your life up even more, right? But you would understand that getting hit in the head like that, especially with a tornado kick, does affect you in some kind of negative way. And if you can't see that, I don't know what to tell you. He's like, God damn, just how they pinned Stu. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, right? They had to do something to kind of clear up whatever was going on there, or somehow create a distraction factor, right? Obviously, there were kids in the stands. It looked very horrible. It was a very horrible situation. And as a result of that horrible situation, they had to counteract by creating something out of the show. So, that is what we got out of that, right? Out of that pin. So, um, all right. So the other story of this is, why is it that Roger Jackson has not been picked up yet? Now I got to tell you, yesterday I saw Myron Gaines. You guys are you guys familiar with Myron Gaines from the Fresh and Fit podcast? By the way, guys, everybody in here, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, because I'm about to drop some real epic content for you guys and tell you things about this story that nobody else will tell you in its full entirety, and not only that, in its full objectivity. Obviously, that's a little bit of an exaggeration. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that are doing it from both sides of the story, both sides of the fence, as they should. But at the same time, I'm going to make it as entertaining and as interactive as possible. So please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and let's get this thing cracking, shall we? So please hit the like button and we'll continue. So yesterday, I was watching Myron Gaines, right? And he said that maybe in a couple of weeks, they're going to press charges or they're going to have him arrested. But if you think about it, it's quote unquote attempted unaliving, right? Attempted murder. So if that's the case, if it is quote unquote attempted murder, they should absolutely be in a rush to go and arrest him, because obviously he's such a real danger to society, right? Well, why is it that they are not doing that? You know what? You know what they're doing right now? You know what the LAPD is doing right now? The LAPD is concentrating on locking up Crips. Okay? Matter of fact, I'm going to show you exactly what the LAPD is up to right now, because what they are up to right now is not Raja by any degree, right? They are not after Raja at all. Okay, but I will tell you who they are after, and you need to see this. So, okay, let's see what Tony Ferguson. Shout out to Tony Ferguson. Is this about the Raja incident? It is, my man. Okay, so let's get to this right here. Okay, this is what the LAPD is concentrating on right now. Okay.
Responsible for 92 residential burglaries in the city of Los Angeles. Welcome back to another episode of Warren Cali. Now you see by this title, LA has been on fire with a lot of arrests and indictments coming down. Some of the Rolling Dirty Crips and the 5-5 neighborhood Crips are a part of this new one. At least 10 people have been charged in what Los Angeles officials have described as a crime ring, acting on a string of residential robberies across the city. Officers conducted what LAPD chief described as a major operation by executing search warrants and targeting burglary suspects. The suspects taken into custody did have gang ties, some being from the Rolling Dirty Crips and some being from the 5-5 neighborhood Crips. Both of these gangs are separate gangs, but are close allies, and these gang members from these different hoods came together to commit these crimes.
Okay. So, Jordan, shout out to you, my man. First time I've seen you here. Let me know what part of the world you are from. Jordan says LAPD notoriously lets criminals go. I'm going to pin that comment right now. Okay. I don't necessarily agree with that comment, Jordan, but they are not doing anything to Stu. I'm sorry, not to Stu, to Raja. but they are doing something to these guys, and that's something that is uh you got to wonder, right? Why is it that they're going after guys that are doing burglary? Oh, okay, well, there's murder charges that are involved in this too. Okay, so maybe that's the case, right? So, all right. Uh, Red Hot Chili Pepper says if Stu doesn't press charges, I do hope that Rampage gives him some money to try and help him with medical expenses and make things right. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think Rampage is going to do that. I know you guys wish that Rampage would do that, and it seems like the right thing to do, but I'm highly skeptical that he will do that. But we shall see. Okay. So, all right. Well, more on this. This is only a short 5-minute video. So,
The burglary crew, the targets of this operation were members of what was called the Rich Rolling Burglary Crew. They were allegedly responsible for over 92 residential burglaries in the city of Los Angeles. Investigators believe the break-in started as early as 2022 and has spanned to cities like West LA, Pacific Hollywood, Wilshire, North Hollywood, West Valley, Foothill, and Topanga, among others. By the numbers, burglaries associated with this particular crew since 2022 had Hollywood with 3 robberies, Wilshire with 65, Pacific with 25, West LA with 43, North Hollywood with 3, West Valley had 2, Foothill had 3, Devonshire had 3, and Topanga had 1, among others. A breakthrough in the case occurred in February of this year, where officers chased 3 suspects in a vehicle that officers recognized as being used in 2 burglaries. Those 3 people were arrested on February 12th, and officers gained information that led to more potential suspects. While executing warrants, officers found tools to conduct burglaries, several firearms, some of which were reported stolen, and large amounts of ammunition. Other stolen items were found, such as jewelry, luxury handbags, and credit cards. The arrested suspects range in age.
okay. So, Certified says Rampage is a nice guy. He didn't realize his son was taking his words personally. So you know what? So here's the problem, right? This is sort of the problem in the well, I don't want to say one particular race, but let's just say the urban culture, right? Because the urban culture encompasses black, Latino, Asians, Samoans, Puerto Ricans, white boys, Jamaicans, Latin kings, disciples, vice lords, Haitians, all these others been patiently waiting. Okay, so you know what I mean, right? That's what I mean by the urban culture. So within the urban culture, there's this higher sense of insensitivity towards how you raise your kids. Oh, toughen up or this and that, this, that, and the other, right? I understand that. But at the same time, this does affect your children in some kind of way. Zayn Musa Boxing, what's good, bro? How are you, my man? Yes, G. All right, man. Yeah, man. We're here, once again with the Raja Chronicles, right? So everybody is asking right now, Zayn, why Raja hasn't been arrested yet. Well, I'm showing people why, because the LAPD right now is working on locking up, rolling 30 Crips and, rolling, 55th Street Crips on top of that, which, by the way, if you guys are familiar with Crip Mac, that is the neighborhood that he comes from. So who's Raja? Who's that guy? So Raja, Zane, by the way, everybody, shout out to Zayn Musa Boxing, some boxing content. Zayn Musa Boxing is the guy to go to on that one. So Raja is the son of Raja is the son of hold on a second. Let me put this right here. Okay. So Raja is the son of Rampage Jackson, and he beat up a professional wrestler after throwing a can in his head, and he was just saying that he was doing this to basically create like some kind of like pro wrestling stage show. And so he wasn't having it. So he ended up getting in the ring, slamming him, and then punching him 22 times as he was knocked out. And now the whole MMA world, not only the MMA world, the whole wrestling world, and maybe even the boxing world too, are mad at Raja for doing this. And then there's a lot of racial tension that's coming along with it. So Canelo versus Crawford, bro. Oh yeah, man, I can't believe it. That's only a couple of weeks from now. I can't wait for that one. We got to do live. Oh yeah, we're definitely doing a live for that one. Red Hot Chili Pepper says, I think Raja should 100% be banned off of Kick, though he doesn't need the toxicity in his life. You down? Yeah, I'm definitely down for that one, Zane. Yeah, so look, I think there is. Here's the thing about online, right? Me and Zane have talked about this before, right? We had a homie of mine come on with us, right? And he's also trying to start a boxing page as well. And one of the advices that Zane gave one of my homies is that, listen, you cannot allow these people to dictate how you feel, right? Because people are going to say what it is that they're going to say. You have to have thick skin. Now, I think what happened with with Raja is that he let the people in his chat get to him. Oh, you're a punk. You gonna let him punk you like that? Oh, you better go out and do something or this and that, right? Zane says the undercard is going to be good, man. Yeah, that's going to be awesome. Grit to be fit says if Raj gets charged, then the tall, drunken, lumbering oaf needs to get charged as well since he assaulted him first. Ooh. Okay. Great. I'm gonna pin that comment right there. Zane says at Conor McGregor we make money. Oh, there's Conor McGregor say okay. Conor McGregor, what do you do for bread and butter? Because YouTube don't pay bills for sure. Well, okay, that's a very good that's a very good question, Connor. So put it like this, right? I'm a 40-year-old man. I've done a lot of different jobs in my life. I've been in corporate jobs. I've been in sales jobs. I've been in the car business. I've sold cars. Well, put it like this, right? Uh, I'm in YouTube because I can afford it, because most people in the world, well, I don't want to be disparaging to other people, but I'm just going to be honest about it, right? Like most people can't afford to do this. This is the reason why a lot of people don't really do good in YouTube, because they don't have the means to do so. So that's really what it is, man. So yeah, and then on top of that, I'm not here to tell people what it is that I do for a living, because I tell you what, if you are online, listen, you should never tell people what you do for a job, because people are going to try and basically destroy your job, your work, and especially if you work in a corporate setting or this, that, and the other. Yeah, it's not good. He says you look like Mark Hunt. Well, thank you. I am part Islander, so that does. I guess that does correlate in some kind of way. You can do your thing, and it's interesting. Good G, you're a natural. Starbo says, why should Raja be arrested? Regardless. Okay. Zane says, hustle. We make paper. A prop can do does not. Okay, a prop can does not equal attempted murder, dude. Okay, so he's talking to Grit at that one. He's 25 years old, not a kid. Yeah, so that's the thing, right? A lot of people are sort of looking at him as a kid, right? Obviously, he's not, but yeah. But I agree. I agree with Grit on that one, right? That's why I marked his thing down. Mark Hunt lost to Lesnar on drugs. Yes, correct. Kyrie, the MMA shout outs to Zayn on that one. But the wrestler should too. So listen, the reason why I marked Grit's comment on that one, right? There's a reason why I marked his comment on that. Because when I was in middle school, I got into a fight. The principal brought me in, right? And it was one of those old school principals where, like, all right, you know what? You guys had a scrap. You guys had a fight. No big deal. You know what? We'll just bring you in the office. And then he said something along the lines like, you know what? You know what? Me doing this to you is considered assault. This is what my middle school principal told me. He said that doing this is considered an assault. So how much more when you take a can to the head, even though it looks fake, okay, doing this, right? Even though he was trying to fake it and this and that. He says, I found the incel and the nerds, Sunny and Tyne says. Yeah, listen, man, I don't really, if you're looking for me to react or to get mad at what you say, bro, you don't even have a profile pic. I don't even know what you look like. You don't know me from a can of paint. And for all I know, you could be, the biggest fat loser in the world with Cheeto, residue in your fingers. So, That's that. Red Hot Chili Pepper says he thought a fellow wrestler and a part of the show due to the camera. Well, here's the thing, right? So this leads me to the topic of why Syko Stu should not even have been a wrestler. Look, the guy came in there drunk. That is so unprofessional. I told you guys about how unprofessional this is, right? I told you about Kendrick Lamar and Lefty Gunplay and why he made Lefty Gunplay only say scary, crazy, spooky, hilarious, crazy, scary, spooky, hilarious. He's like, you only get 4 words because you came in this studio drunk off of your mind, high on meth, very unprofessional. I'm going to give you 4 bars to say on the, turn the TV off song. That's what Kendrick Lamar did because Kendrick Lamar is a consummate professional, right? When you are a consummate professional, you don't want to deal with people that are not professional. And I'm sorry to say, man, Syko Stu is one of those toxic guys behind the scenes. And I know that sounds like victim blaming. I know that's not the popular opinion to say, but if I know anything about wrestling, I know that guys like Syko Stu are just, they are a cancer to the locker room and to the younger guys. They're the type of guys that try to punk the younger guys and this and that. And you know what? Mark Henry said it best in his TMZ video, right? All these new WWE wrestlers that are coming up, a lot of them are college educated. A lot of them are Olympians. A lot of them are former MMA fighters, former boxers. You can't talk to these people in any kind of way. Zed says Raja should be charged with assault, definitely not attempted murder. Elijah said you would be a great wrestler. Well, thank you, my man. I do have the personality for it. I do have a little bit of the size to go along with it too. Although in these days, size doesn't necessarily always matter in the world of professional wrestling, or I guess it never did because you look at Rey Mysterio, right? Smelford Buckley says Raja will be charged as it looks like right now. DA is expected to. Oh, what? Hold up, Buckley, Smelford. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna highlight that comment. By is that a fact, Smelford Buckley? Please, man, let me know if that is a fact right there, right? Because you know what, that kind of explains. Okay, Roger Lawyer has made contact with the D. Oh my god! Oh my god! Really? Really? Mega Cars Hub. Who is this? Red Hot Chili Pepper says 20 punches to an unconscious opponent is definitely attempted murder at Zed. Red Hot Chili Pepper says he was a veteran with PTSD that used wrestling to help cope. Like him or not, he's going to be a sympathetic figure to most of the public. You know what? You're absolutely right about that, Red Hot. You are absolutely right about that. Look, here's the thing, right? I think a lot of people take way too much into being a vet, right? Yeah, I think they use that card a little way too much. You know what I mean? Like Jesse the Body Ventura was not only a vet, he was a former Vietnam vet, and he was also a Navy SEAL. But you never seen him use it as a character in his professional wrestling show, right? Obviously, there was Sergeant Slaughter. That's one thing, but yeah. Steve Satan says it's 100% victim blaming, and his buddies and coworkers say that Stu is a very good dude. Man is an Army veteran who was slammed from behind, knocked out cold, then beaten with 21 hits. Talkwish says Jesse Ventura is the man. He was, man. Oh, he was. He really was. Okay, so Smelford Buckley made a very good point there, right? He said that wow, man, yeah, he said that the lawyers are already talking to his DA. That's crazy. So okay, this is going to continue on, man. I'm glad that this is going to continue on because we're definitely going to get a whole lot more stories out of this. Mars says it's not equivalent. Response Stu is being dumb, maybe a bit of an asshole. Raja was out for blood. Look, guys, at what point do you realize that, hey, you know what, man, you cannot be messing around with people like that? At what point do you realize that? Right? That's really what it is. Zane, are you still in here? Let me know if you're still in here, Zane, because we had a conversation about this, right? About banter, about hey, what is too much or what is or what is not enough, right? Let me know if you're in here, Zane, because me and Zane Musa Boxing Dosage did have a conversation about this, right? I believe it was a private conversation. It wasn't one of our live streams that we did. But what me and Zane talked about, right? For those of you that don't know, Zane is from London. He's British. He lives in that part of the world. And in that part of the world, for anybody that's in the UK, there's this thing called banter, right? And I'm sorry to say, but the white boys, okay, when it comes to banter, they go a little way too hard, right? In ways that us minority guys would just not, right? In ways that Arab guys will not do that, black guys won't do that, Mexican guys won't do that. They just go a little too hard with the way that they banter about things, right? Whereas with minorities, especially black American dudes, okay, they come from a very serious culture, right? Especially if they're not a pro wrestler. So for you to do that, I think it was sort of out of bounds and out of your own territory. And, it is probably the reason why he responded the way that he did. Steve Staten says the boys chat hyped him up into, man, and his dad practically calling him gay had a lot to do with it as well. Listen to Rampage talk to him during the show. All right, so Steve Staten, I'm going to highlight that comment right there, right? The reason why I'm highlighting that comment is precisely the reason why I made that video about Rampage being a bad father, right? Hate Love says, I'm in the UK. You're right. We are rude and blunt and call it banter. That's what I'm saying, bro. That's what I'm saying. Some people just have, a certain, harsh way of joking around, right? And I think it's both white British guys and white American guys that are like just, over the line and over the top with it. Gigi says being an asshole or toxic in the locker room doesn't matter, honestly. What's that got to do with the beating he got? They shook hands twice, make amends, and clear cut. Okay, so Gigi, I'm gonna address that. Okay, when you do me wrong, when you do anyone wrong, uh, there is no timeline for revenge. I'm going to be honest with you about this. And you know what? I'm going to admit to something that I'm probably should not admit online right now, right? So in the summer of 2022, I went to New Jersey. I confronted a guy. By the way, for those of you that are just tapped into my channel, I'm California based, right? So I flew from California all the way to New Jersey, visit some family, sightseeing, seeing my old high school grounds and this, that, and the other. I go there, and there's this guy that's been talking smack to me online, right? For a couple of years, right? Maybe dating back to the pandemic, because remember, this is 2022. So 2 years later, I finally confront this guy in New Jersey, and guess what happens? Just like that. Just like that. Right in his car. I was in traffic in the town that I was at. Shout out to Old Bridge, New Jersey. He's right behind me. I see him right behind me. I have my car. I have a car, by the way, a car that's not mine because obviously I'm visiting New Jersey. So it's a car that's being borrowed. I stop in the middle of the road. I see him in traffic. I get out the car. He rolls his window down just like that. Just like that. You understand? So there is no time limit. There is no time limit for conflict. And I need you to understand that. Okay? So Red Hot Chili Pepper says, have an article link. Okay, wait, well, let's go back here. Raja got arrested. Facts. Steve Satan says, Carl says, yeah, Raja has been arrested already. LA police were swift for the first time. And like, wow, if you pee yourself kinds of craziness. Jane Harrell says, all you need to do is look at the footage from after the incident. Raja is clearly a little unhinged. Yeah. And I think getting kicked in the head days prior or a couple of hours prior to that may had something to do with it. Zed says that AJ guy, cowboy hat wrestler, told him to give his receipt. So isn't that also liable? That's what I'm saying, right? So there's some strong cases here. J Darlow says, yeah, but I bet you never shook hands and squashed it before that. That's the problem here. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Steve Sanders, I agree with the statement too. The white guy definitely, that the white guys definitely do that. My little brother is guilty of that ignorant jokes and a pathetic racial humor that clearly is not funny. Okay. JD says there is a time limit when you shake hands, though. It depends on, I guess depends on who you ask, right? Zed says giving a receipt is one thing, but wept is too far. Better receipt in wrestling isn't beating the hell out of somebody. Carl says Raja is just mentally ill, doesn't excuse what he did. Receipt doesn't mean to do overkill. It's premeditated. Raja said he wasn't going to act when the wrestling is acting. Okay. Oh my God, I'm far right. Getting kicked in the head didn't do anything, was always empty in there. Are we going to act like that demographic doesn't commit crime at a significantly higher rate? Ooh, okay. Okay, so I'm gonna highlight the comment of OMG far right, right? I'm gonna highlight your comment, my man. And remember, when I highlight these comments, it doesn't necessarily mean that I agree with you. I highlight these comments because I think that there are some fascinating takes that you are saying here. And look, I'm not going to ignore intelligence, right? Okay, so here's the thing: OMG far right. OMG far right is saying that there's a certain group of people that commit the most crimes, and I'm here to tell you that Raja is not a typical black kid. He's not. I'm going to tell you something, OMG. I'm far right, right? I know a lot of black gangsters, okay? And people that are about that life in the black community, also in the Asian community, also in the Mexican community, right? Also in the Samoan community, right? I know people in that part of the world, the gang world, right? Raja is not one of these guys. Raja would not be the guy to hang out in the block or the guy that, I mean, for crying out loud, the man is a vegan. The man grew up with a lot of white people. Okay, let's be honest about this. Raja is a black man who grew up white, and there's nothing wrong with that. Even though in Sacramento and in Stockton and in California, I was around a lot of people that are about that life. When I was in New Jersey, guess what? I lived a very similar life to that of Raja in LA, meaning that he grew up with a lot of suburban white kids. So I just need you to put that in perspective right there. So what I'm saying is that him committing this crime is not predicated on the fact of him being part of this epidemic of crime from a certain community, but rather, a passion of rage. Okay, well, I mean, passion of rage is more like if you're, if you catch somebody doing something that is unlawful. Sometimes Bea says, "Are you Muslim?" I am, brother. If you are, yeah, please send me assalamu alaikum rahmatullah barakatuh to you if you are, brother. So yeah, man. Shout out to OMG. I'm a far right. Very interesting comment, and I think that it was, it's a good conversation starter for what I had mentioned. Not a race issue; it's a class issue. JD, explain what you mean by that. By a class issue, are you saying class issue because Raja is a spoiled kid, and and you're kind of speaking in that trajectory? Let me know if that's what you mean, my man. Steve Santon says Rampage has made his son the butt of his jokes for a long time. Yes, I'm okay. I'm going to highlight this comment right here. Okay, Rampage, yeah, made his son the butt of the jokes. He calls him a bitch on a regular, particularly calling him gay for being a vegan and things like that. His dad is the biggest bully. That's what I'm saying. So he's a vegan, right? Yo, let's be honest. Raja is a white liberal. You know what I mean? He's a brother who's a white liberal, and there's nothing wrong with that. I grew up with a lot of white liberals in New Jersey. I grew up with a lot of white conservatives as well. There's nothing wrong with that, but that's really what it is. So that's why I don't, yeah, I don't like the aspect of hate. Love says salam. I am a Muslim from the UK. Love this channel, bro. Respect. Shout out to you, my man. Thank you for tapping in. Thank you for your support. I always got love for my UK Muslim brothers. OMG, I'm far right says they don't have to be like that to be violent. It's quite literally the same in Africa. Every single country, there's not that's not Arab is rampaging with violence. Wow. Okay. Somalia, Nigeria, Chad, Ethiopia, Eritrea. Yeah, man. You know what? Far right. It's hard for me to deny that, right? Look, I know a lot of people. You probably run across a lot of Muslims, a lot of minorities that would probably uh, jump at your throat for saying what you're saying. But the reason why I'm not jumping at your throat for this is because, oh man, I can't blame you for, I don't know, man. I can't blame you for saying it because it's true, bro. Somalia is a violent place. Nigeria is a violent place, bro. I'm telling you, if I was to ever pull up to Nigeria, and by the way, shout out to Nigeria. I got some fans in Nigeria. I got a lot of supporters in Nigeria. But if I was to ever roll up in Nigeria, rest assured, I would not go out there without an SAS, a British, special forces or American special forces guys with me. There is no way, or maybe some guys are like, Mujahideen or something like that. I would bring some armed, faction with me if I was to ever roll up in Nigeria. There is no way I'm going to Nigeria, alone, without a bulletproof vest or without, an assault rifle with me. There is no way. So you're right, right? Whereas you're right in other Arab countries, where I've been at, it's relatively peaceful, unless of course it's Libya or Syria, and then again, Libya and Syria are sort of within that, that same, trajectory of violent crimes and damn near a failed state. Although Mohammed El-Shara, the president of Syria right now, is sort of, doing a better job than usual. Okay, so. But yeah, man, shout out to you, man. I'm very glad that you are here. Shout out to everybody that's contributing to the chat here. Uh, Money Ballin says, do you think race is downstream from culture or is culture downstream from race? Elaborate on that a little bit, Money Ballin. Let me know what you mean by that. Do you think race is downstream from culture or is culture downstream from race? Here's the thing, right? I don't think race has anything to do with contributing to one's criminal behavior. I think it's just all about environment, right? I think that's really what it is. Or maybe it is about genetics because look, I got to be honest with you, right? I grew up in the suburbs of New Jersey. Okay. I grew up relatively normal, right? Normal American upbringing is what I got in New Jersey. But then when I came to California, bro, I was hanging around, gangbangers, gangsters, and all types of people that would scare the living piss out of people that I grew up with. So Randy Slavic says his dad was a friend, not a father. That's what I'm saying, man. Look, sometimes, in the hood culture, I notice this a lot in the gang culture, right? Especially in black gang culture, like sometimes the dads would act as if they were the homies. And I don't know if that's always, a good thing. JD Harlow says, well, you said you grew up white. I just meant that both white and black can grow up rich or poor. I just don't think it has anything to do with race. Okay, that's a fair that's a fair assessment. Randy Slavic says Rampage is a bad father. Period. Yeah. So Randy Slavic, try telling that to the people that attacked me on my video where my latest video I have where I basically bashed Rampage for being a bad dad. And my father used to beat me with a belt with Marlboro cigarette brass buckles on, and I didn't beat anybody up. Well, and I didn't stop hitting them once they were unconscious. Migs, different circumstances, right? You weren't put in a situation where somebody put a can in your head, but again, maybe you might act differently, maybe you won't. We never know until we're actually there in that situation. So Zed says, I like Raja, but he definitely needs some mental help and he needs to stay off live forever out of the public eye for a while. Well, Kick definitely did that for him. They kicked him off, the Kick stream, and that was that. Steve Stan says, respect your opinions in your channel. Much love from a white American. Shout out to my white Americans, bro. You know what I'm saying? Shout outs to all you guys. Yeah, man, that's great, bro. I never would have thought that a bearded Muslim guy would have all of these, white dudes from the Midwest support my channel. But you know what? It shows that we share the same love and interest for the world of MMA, and I think that is a very beautiful thing. So Mig says, what does politics have to do with anything? What is that in regards to? OMG Far Right says, how much does a continent double the size of Europe not have one successful country? That seems impossible. I got to tell you, man, there's a lot of resources that were taken out of Africa due to colonization. That could be a reason that we could, look at. Mig says, let's talk about the poor kids in Minnesota that died from another school shooting. Oh my God, I know, man. Listen, I was very saddened by that situation, unfortunately, in America. Look around the world, there's not too many shootings in schools in other countries. Well, I tell you what, man, every time somebody says that, okay, there's a lot of school shootings going on in America or this, that, and the other, one of the things that concerns me is that when somebody goes and says something to the effect of, "Oh, you know what, man? Uh, we need to take the guns away." That's usually the next conversation. I get really uncomfortable with that because I'll be honest with you, I'm pro Second Amendment right, right? And the reason why I'm pro Second Amendment right, imagine if somebody worthwhile that had a strap on him in Minnesota, to take that, sick, pervert down, right? But yeah, that's unfortunate. Red Hot Chili Pepper says, I used to have two close friends in high school from Nigeria, both 7 feet tall, that my school recruited for basketball, and some are the sweetest people I've met. And I think it's the Americanization of minorities that causes issues. Okay, Meg says, sorry, I'm not trying to disrespect your channel. I think you're doing it. No, man, not at all, man. Not at all. Thank you. Thank you, my man. Thank you for that. Thank you for the love. He said, sorry for the caps. No, not a problem at all, my man. Red Hot Chili Peppers. Yeah, but there is a side attacks and knife attacks in other countries. Well, there you go, right? There's that aspect as well. MD says, good morning, brother. Meg says, you're not wrong, Red Hot. Red Hot says violence is everywhere. We need to start focusing on mental health much more than we are currently. I agree with that. MD says, what the F? JD says, Rampage is not a perfect father, but Raja is an adult capable of making his own decisions. It's not Rampage's fault. Raja let the chat rage bait him. On the other hand, I do think Rampage. Okay, much love, brother. Clip sets. Shout outs to you, my man. Shout outs to you, Clip Sets. First time that you are here, let me know what part of the world you are from. Lovebug says, how are you, my brother? Haven't seen you for a long time. Shout out to you, Lovebug, man. I haven't seen from you from a long time as well. Shout out to you. JD says, should have done a better job educating Raja so he could deal with tough times. There you go. Red Hot Chili Pepper says, I'm a white Christian American, but I love your channel, and Islam Makhachev is my favorite fighter. Well, there you go, right? You're a Christian American and Islam Makhachev is your favorite fighter, you came to the right place because I am American as well, but I am American of Muslim background, and we both love Islam Makhachev. So there you go. Lovebug says, do you think Raja's outburst caused his father's constant belittling of his? Yes, I think so. Hot Fever, skipping my comments on purpose. I'm sorry. What did you say? Sorry, brother. Listen, I'm new to this internet fame stuff, so please forgive me, okay? You know what I mean? I'm new to the internet fame, so it gets a little bit harder to keep up with the comments when, yeah. But Philly, okay, so shout outs to Philly, my man. All right, the reporter says MMA Guru has gotten his fame to his head. He forgot that he isn't a father. Well, that is also true, right? But I listen, guys. I'm the opposite of MMA Guru, and I agree with him. Okay, put it like that, right? And it feels like he treats his Japanese kids differently. Ooh, okay, I'm marking this comment right here, right? There's a little bit of a racial element there, right? He sort of feels like as if, the Japanese are somehow a superior culture than that of his, peasant American, upbringing or something, right? He does kind of treat them in that kind of way. Now, maybe the mom has something to do with it because I remember Rampage said that how he met his wife. He said that he met his wife while he was at an airport, and she was, those people that, that check people in, or they're check your tickets, or this and that in the front desk of the airline. So that's what she was working as, a Japanese woman. And so when they met and they, started exchanging emails or whatever, he lost to Vanderlei. And so the Japanese woman said, well, I'll bet you that you being a single dad had something to do with you losing to Vanderlei. How about I come move to America and take care of everything, and then maybe you'll do better. Lo and behold, there it is. Rampage Jackson became a champion, got into the UFC, and then he became a champion, and that was that. So Beeknell says, what's up, Aki? What did Guru say? When did Guru say that? Guru, well, no, it was more like Rampage responding to him. The video on Rampage's parenting is amazing, bro. Thank you. Toxic Gameplays. Shout out to Toxic Gameplays. So speaking of which, let's play what MMA Guru had to say about Rampage. Okay, so let's see here. We're gonna play it briefly, but hold on a second. Where is MMA Guru? Okay, here we go.
You guys know I had to make a video about this one. Rampage Jackson is
Hate Love says, in my opinion, Raja is an adult, but he was already protected because of his dad. People are scared to go against him, so I think they are both at fault. Rampage is an experienced fighter, but no discipline. My take. Mar says, Big Nil, he said that on the live. He said that he should be able to call Rampage the N-word. What? Wow, I don't know if he said all that. I mean, that's a little bit risky for Guru to say. And Guru, let me tell you, man, Guru has never gotten a strike in his channel ever. Not for no copyrights, not for anything, not for racial incitement, even though that he should, but he's very careful about what he says. So I don't know if he really did say all that. Rendell Bright says it's facts that Rampage Jackson loves Asian women. For real. Mars says, play the short where Guru says he should call Raja the N-word with a R. Really? Okay, I gotta look that up. Sorry, not Rampage, Raja. Okay. Toxic Gameplays is if a parent can get praise for their kid successful, they should be criticized for their kid turning out badly. Ooh, that's a good point right there. I'm marking that comment right there. Toxic Gameplays, very good point.
Me out multiple times on his streams over my coverage of the Raja Jackson situation, and I know that you guys may have thought for a second, and this is very important, before I even get into the rest of this video and go through the clips of Rampage Jackson directly calling me out by name, you guys may have thought for a second that in this situation where Raja Jackson attempted to murder Syko Stu, and you all saw it on video, you guys may have thought for a second that Raja...
He says, yeah, he called him an animal, and he should be able to call him the word as taking advantage to spew the hatred. Red Hot Chili Peppers says, I believe in free speech totally, so I think even Guru said that he should be allowed to. I'm tired of the censorship everywhere. I agree with you. Tiny Bear says, has Raja the Animal Jackson been taken into custody yet? No, he hasn't. But from what somebody had said on the chat earlier, they said that the DA has been in contact with his lawyer, so they're working something out here. Why are people so focused on Guru calling him an animal when Raja nearly ended a man's life? Because here's the thing, right? A lot of people politicize this issue, right? They see a black kid attacking a white man who, by the way, is a veteran. Oh my goodness, people are going to be all over it. So he says, deflection. Rotten Pop says nothing matters. Nobody's opinion matters. The only thing that matters are their facts, and the facts are that he was on top of a man, beating him up while he was unconscious. This is assault. The only reason why he hasn't been arrested is because of his dad's money. Well, look, man, there's a lot of people with money that have assaulted people before and they got arrested, right? So I don't know if it's just that. And you know what? Quite frankly, I don't know how much power Rampage Jackson really has in LA, right? I told you guys about the Suge Knight story about how he caused the Compton PD police department to shut down and convert it into a sheriff's office, right? The reason being is because he took over that whole entire police station and it ran corruption rampant. And so they had to go in there and do something about it. Rampage doesn't have that kind of power. He's not an LA native. He's not a Californian. He doesn't have ties to this place in any kind of way that would indicate that he has any power in this place, whether that would be in politics or in the streets. So, but it's not to say that Rampage doesn't know anybody, because a famous guy like that, they are bound to, run across people that are of, that are of famous, standings, right? That's just what gangbangers do in LA and in California. They go and find the famous people that live here and try to exploit them. Rampage has Jewish lawyers. You got to, right? Even people that are charged with terrorism, right? Muslim terrorists, also have Jewish lawyers. They're just the best lawyers to have. So he should sue and not go to prison. Toxic Gameplay says AJ's live he did with CT Fletcher only muddied the waters. So let me read some of my my details that I have here, just so I'm on topic of certain things, right? So we talked about why Raja has not been arrested yet, but we also talked about why the DA is in contact with his lawyers right now, right? Obviously, MMA Guru is being called a racist for calling, Raja an animal. Rampage calls him out on it. Also, why is Syko Stu should not be a wrestler? We sort of, hinted at. Jim Cornette said something along the lines that California used to be a recruiting ground to find models, to find bodybuilders, to find fighters, to find boxers, and convert them into pro wrestlers, right? Well, now they got guys like Syko Stu, who just goes in there as a student and is not really progressing in the world of wrestling, doesn't really have a look, doesn't really have, an athleticism about him, but he's a nice guy. Everybody loves him in the back. And Rob Van Dam, I remember watching his podcast the other day. He said something along the lines like, "Hey, listen, if you saw a group of hood black dudes," and it's funny how he mentioned, a group of black dudes, right, that are hood, right, and you see them, would you throw a can at them, knowing that it could absolutely be detrimental to you, right? And so he kind of made a good point on that. Also, Mark Henry talks about how he would never hire somebody like Stu. He's a cancer to the people of the back of the locker rooms, and as a result of that, yeah, man, he would not hire somebody like that. He would not allow somebody who's so unprofessional to be part of the show. So yeah, so there you go. All right, so Pepper Tanker says, "Hi, I agree with you. Regards from Sweden. Shout out to Sweden, my man. Shout out to Sweden. Hope you guys hit the like and subscribe button on this one. Rampage should seriously shut the F up. Should offer Stu a fat check. Oh, I thought you said STFU. A fat check over this. I think it would help Stu with more money than Raja going to prison, even though Raja probably deserves it. Hi, I agree with you. Regards to, okay, bro has a legendary crash out. Terrifying. Yeah. Do you think MMA Guru is racist? I don't think he's racist. I think MMA Guru is a nationalist, but I also think nationalism is a small gateway to racism, right? And it's not me just saying this. By the way, this is according to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, right? The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said something along the lines that, nationalism is of a rotten thing and you should leave it because we are all Muslim brothers, one ummah around the world. And, and yeah, so that is the, Brandon Reed says, arrest Syko Stu, right? Hey, you know what? We're going to arrest Raja, maybe him, right? That is considered assault in some kind of way. Janique says, delusional. Randall Bright says, I wish Syko Stu a good speed recovery, but Raja Jackson should not face prison time, jail time. He assaulted with a can. He wasn't privy to the elements of sports entertainment. Red Hot Chili Pepper says, you're insane, dude, Randall. Brandon, regards from Russia. Shout outs to Russia. 92 Vice says, Guru always been weird. Toxic Gameplay says, AJ, the promoter, gave Raja the green light to go off on Stu. So there you go. There could be, yeah, there could be, what do you call it? Some kind of defense on that one. Red Hot Chili Pepper says, nationalism isn't racism. No, it's not. It's not racism, but it is this aspect of, well, we are from this part of the world and you're not, so we're going to exclude you from it. It's a very it's a very anti-inclusive thing, right, is what I'm saying. Tiny Bear says, James Romo from the stories with Dutch Mantle and Stevie Richards has been on it. He ain't playing. He started that. Raja knows well the difference in work and shoot, no excuses. Well, Raja's not much of a wrestling guy, is he, right? I know Rampage did a bid with what's his name with Kurt Angle, but yeah, I mean as far as Raja goes, he doesn't really know or understand pro wrestling. Empty says Bat MMA. That's far from the thing that he said. The Sergeant USAF says this is all we do here is read chats in which we all can read as they are sent. So weird. I don't understand what you mean by that. So you're telling me that I shouldn't go out and read my chats, right? Like, it's so funny how people that, have never started a YouTube page try to tell you how to run a YouTube page. It's very weird, right? Yeah, he's not but he did state he knows the difference in his stream. Mars says it's going to be hard to arrest Stu with a video of him explaining himself and shaking hands and also being victimized later. Empty says uninvolved prefrontal cortex and everything. Okay, so Empty, I'm going to highlight that comment, right? The reason why I'm highlighting that comment is because this part of your brain right here all of a sudden gets developed by the time you're 25, right? Well, how old is he? He is 25 years old, and that is that. Becknell says under Sharia law, Raja could be executed if he killed a man. No, 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 no. Okay, so let me explain that, right? Under Sharia law, if he did end up, unaliving Stu, what he would have to do is pay blood money because he didn't mean to do it. He didn't mean to to kill the guy. Like there's intent of actually I don't think that he was really trying to end this guy's life, right? Like beating him down is one thing, but trying to end his life, I don't know if I can necessarily believe that. Empty Split says Rampage should have ignored MMA Guru. At the same time, Rampage is not experienced in how the social media game is. Right, right. He's, one of the old dogs, like myself, right? I'm just starting to learn the internet and I'm 40 years old. But yeah, I mean, Rampage is even older than that. Empty says develop is not the same as evolve. Okay, your opinion on that. Jeff Kingston, shout out to you. First time I seen you here. Raja is a clown. His response to finding out the man was seriously hurt was my bad. No arguing. This one has been going to the bin for a long time. Beck Noel says unintentional would be like a car accident. He was raining punches. Aki, that's clearly attempted murder. Yeah. You know what? Maybe you're right, man. Look, I'm not Red Hot Chili Peppers. Read my last comment, please. Okay, so do you think countries should be allowed to restrict who enters their countries? Would Saudi Arabia still be Saudi Arabia if 20 million Japanese people were dropped into the country suddenly? Well, here's the thing, right? If those same Japanese people were to drop into Saudi Arabia, it would be on the basis that Saudi Arabia would probably want to convert them to Islam. Although the current Saudi regime right now is not exactly an Islamic supremacist regime where they want the world to be Muslim, so that would not be in their policy. But they do remain ethnocentric to a certain degree because that is the policy that the king and the royal family wish to run upon. Empty says saying his frontal cortex is undeveloped is vastly different than him saying undeveloped. One has a racial connotation and the other developmental. Guru is way past crito racist at this point. Okay, so Empty, I'm going to pin that comment right there. Mars says some Guru fans are definitely racist, though. Look at his chats. I agree. That's what I'm saying. And you know what? That is the reason why MMA Guru was able to rise above the new type of followers that he had, because unfortunately there's a lot of racist people out there on the internet, and quite frankly the majority of people that can afford to be on the internet are white people. And I know that's probably controversial to say, but that's just the reality of it. That's just from what I know of anecdotal evidence, because if that was the case, I would have a whole bunch of my hood homies, have like 10 different podcasts, but obviously that's a little bit harder to do due to financial circumstances. Mar says free Raja from society. Manuel Diaz says Raja didn't even do nothing. Allegedly, let's say allegedly. Brandon Reed says not attempted murder. It was just rage. Red Hot Chili Pepper says, I'm saying that a country is a country due to its people, in my opinion. That's why I support nationalism and don't think it's racism. Okay, it doesn't necessarily have to be racism all the time, but yeah, and you know what? I hope to do to be a counter culture to that of MMA Guru. Obviously, he has his own following. I have my own following, but guess what, man? I'm going to be the Muslim face of MMA, right? We need a Muslim face of MMA. Let's be honest, right? The Dagestanis can't do that in English speaking form, but many of them are already having a hard time speaking English. So guess what? I'm going to be the English speaking voice for the Dagestanis. No mustache beard gang. Here we go. Becknell says Guru is very fair, though, for a non-Muslim. He often challenges the political views of the chat. Okay, that is that's what makes him a very talented YouTuber, right? Because he does challenge certain notions of things. Becknell says he gets attacked from all directions of political compasses. That's true. Even the white guys go after him, right? Remember Critical Eye MMA? I've done videos on Critical Eye MMA and how he got banned out of YouTube. And, he did say that he sort of disagrees with MMA Guru's civic nationalism stance, right? Because obviously the nationalism that Critical Eye MMA sort of espouses is a little bit more nationalistic and ethnocentric, right? Whereas with Guru, he's like, well, I want Britain to be Britain, and if there's going to be Black British people, Indian British people, so be it. But I just want Britain to be Britain. That is the definition of a civic nationalist. Tiny Bear says actions have consequences. Braden. Um, Okay, so let's see here. He gets attacked from all directions. Well, there's MMA Joey. He isn't Muslim. Well, that's the thing, right? So yeah. Okay, so I guess me and MMA Joey are sort of in that same alliance, right? Yes, he's not Muslim, but yes, some rage baiters in here don't listen to him. Oh no, not at all, man. Shout outs to Matthew De La Rosa here. There's literally 0% chance he's getting booked on a premeditated murder. Y'all don't know the law. Fareed. Shout out to Fareed. I'm going to highlight that comment, Fareed. Tiny bit. Manuel Diaz. They said Raja only punched him 4 times. Yeah, 20 sounds, I don't know, man. I don't know about 20. I'd have to look at that video again. Still attempted murder, though. Premeditated murder, I don't think so. Just attempted murder. Freebie says, just read Stu's going to get paid. No charges. Let's move on. Mars says, Manuel Diaz, did you watch the video? El Chaz says, and at the same time, you ain't taking responsibility for putting them in the ring in the first place, and he's a trained fighter. Yes. Rendell Bright says, Inshallah, I thank you for your platform. Takbir, Allah Akbar. El-Kheer says his dad's been training him since he was a little kid. You guys can't blame him or nobody else besides the people that brought him into that ring. You guys hyped them up, and look what happened. You should invite MMA Guru for an interview. I don't know if he'll do an interview with me. I'd be down to, right? I think me and MMA Guru would have, some good conversations. So, inshallah, that would be, El Chaz says, same thing happened with King Von. How do you think King Von died? People want to hype him up. Yeah, that's right. There's like, slide for King Von. Well, obviously, Little Dirk is sort of facing that right now because of because of what he's got going on right now. Fareed says, dude, I study law. There are literally actually premeditated murders that are booked as battery and assault. He didn't explicitly say he was going to kill him on the stream beforehand. Very true. Mars says true. Partially the organization's fault. Fareed says Max is getting 7 years, but he's so rich. Good lawyers. Okay. He says, Marty Miller says, my comments are getting deleted. Really? How is that? Man, I don't know, man. Well, I didn't see that, Marty. This is the first comment that I seen. I didn't know your comments were being deleted. El Chas says, I used to be 25 years old, and I know I used to be a hothead. Okay, we all were, right? It was a prop, and Raja punched him at least 11 times while he was unconscious. He's getting bailed 200%. Marty Miller says, I said, you're killing it again, SMA. Oh, okay. Maybe that's why, right? Maybe the language and the way that you, said it, it was probably interpreted as, because, obviously you were, speaking in metaphors. So, okay, Marty Miller, you're the mod, bro. Empty split says, yeah. So, right. But sometimes YouTube, can take down comments as well. And, not necessarily just the moderators or the actual creator itself. There's no way people are actually siding with Raja here. Well, Bat MMA, I'm telling you, there's a lot of people out there that are siding with Raja. By the way, this is going to bring us to the bonus conversation, right? Because I'm going to take this show on the road right now, okay? In the meantime, I'm going to play a video for you guys. I'm going to play a video for, I'm going to play an audio of MMA Guru right now, and then I'm going to react to it after. I'm going to bring this to the road right now. I'm going to basically pick up my phone right now and bring it to the road, and we're going to talk about why people are siding with Raja for a bonus content. Stay tuned for the bonus content right now, okay? If you're 25 and a hothead, you seriously need therapy or some issues resolved. Toxic Gameplays is Raja's mom getting murdered is sad. A low IQ, I think Low IQ if you think Raja is right. Okay, good. We're going to have a conversation about this. We're going to talk about why people are siding with Raja, and the answers may shock you. Maybe it may not shock you. Maybe it's something you've heard of, but yes, Fareed says nobody's siding with Raja, bro. It's just that y'all are delusional thinking that he's getting jail time. That's what I'm saying, Fareed. I just don't see a world where he's going to get arrested here. So proud of you making it big, Kyrie. Thank you, my man. Thank you, Toxic Gameplays. Rendell Bright says after that slam, Raja Jackson should have stopped, but he was in the moment and thought he pulled off. Okay, so here's MMA Guru right now. I'm going to take this to the bonus round. I'll see you guys in a few minutes, okay?
Jackson was the bad guy in this situation. But you were wrong. You were actually wrong. You're incorrect. I'm the bad guy in this situation because I called Rajah Jackson names. Yes, that's right. I called Rajah Jackson some mean, offensive names because he attempted to murder someone over basically nothing. And now I'm the bad guy. And let's listen to what Rampage Jackson has to say. I don't understand this at all, but a lot of people are actually agreeing with Rampage Jackson here. And that's what I'm going to cover in today's video. Let's let Rampage Jackson's message play. If you guys don't know about the environment of the clip and some context for this clip, just a few days after Rajah Jackson had this situation that's probably the most stressful time in his life, deserved, by the way, the deserved most stressful time in his life, where he's probably sitting at home right now, scared to death that he's going to get decades in prison. During that moment, right now, his father, Rampage Jackson, is dating the whores on stream and bowling with them while reading dono messages about the entire situation and giving his thoughts on it and calling people out. Just in case you guys needed some context, that's what father of Rajah Jackson, Rampage Jackson, is doing right now. Bowling with whores while his Rajah Jackson is facing what he's facing right now, and it's probably the most important moment of his entire life in terms of a crossroads on what direction his life is going to take. Rampage is bowling with whores and calling out the MMA Guru. So I'm more than happy to cover the most important thing on your mind, Rampage. Let's go through it. It's sort of like ignorant people on the internet understand that. You know, it is what it is. Shit don't bother me, but people like MMA Guru. Why does it wave me? Nothing bothers Rampage. Shit don't bother me or get to him. But MMA Guru, let me talk about this MMA Guru guy. I had the same so many other channels have had the response I've had. Aspen Gold chimed in, Penguin, Moist Critical guy chimed in, said the exact same thing and said you didn't call it a dumb animal. Is it just because I use the terms dumb animal? I don't know why, but either way, I do know why. It's because I said dumb animal. I know why, but either way. I'm bothering me, but people like MMA Guru, you know what I'm saying? That guy is supposed to be some kind of journalist. Don't ever call me a journalist. Don't ever call me that again, though, for real. I'm not a journalist. I need to clear that up. I'm a fat loser troll in my pronunciation. And you never call me the fucking J word ever again in your life. You get that shit right. I ain't a fucking journalist. Okay? There's a lot of things in this very video I'm going to be okay to be called. Don't you ever call me a fucking journalist, dude. Okay? His racism came out. You can call me that, but don't call me a fucking journalist. I swear to God, if you call me a journalist again, I'm going to get pissed. So apparently my racism came out of me. It just left my soul. When I was saying those words, dumb animal, it was just creeping out of me, the racism. That's the big talking point here, guys. Okay? Some kind of journalism. His racism came out. His racism showed. You know what I'm saying? I just want to yeah,
All right. Mic check. 1 2 1 2.
Yeah.
Let's
It's 2025.
Okay, hold on. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Hold on a second here. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Just make sure that all systems go. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Are we on? Mic check 1 2 1 2. 1 2 1 2. Okay, good. We're on. All right, awesome. Are we on? Mic check 1 2 1 2. Okay, we're on. All right, guys. So we're on. All right, awesome. Okay, guys. So listen, welcome to the bonus side of the stream. Right. This is where the part of the stream where we talk about just about anything. Right. It could go from 3 minutes to 30 minutes, from 5 minutes to 50 hours. Right. Doesn't really matter the time frame of this one. Not so much about the time frame that we're going to talk about, but just some important topics to talk about with this particular subject, right? Being that, many people are very much upset at Raja for this, right? But at the same time, there's also a lot of people that are in support of Raja about this. And we're going to talk about that. Okay, he says your mic audio was fine. Your mic audio is low. Okay, they're trying to make Ilya versus Gaethje. He says, okay, so how can Islam beat JDM by wrestling? Tiny Bear says, El Chaz, you need to check yourself before you wreck yourself, big homie. Okay, so let's read some of the comments that you guys have going on here. Okay,